So today we got the two white 4 liters, rough and rougher, I guess is what you could call them. So this one hasn't been on the road for a while. We did a very slow engine swap on it, but it's back up and running. Actually, right now I'm just flashing a file in that hopefully should cold start a little better, since I have pretty much full E85 in it right now. So today what we're going to do is this one's going to go in the shop. I drove this one back from Florida, which you would have seen on the last video if you watched. If not, go do that. But I developed a misfire. I was able to cool it off, restart it at a gas stop. It worked again for a couple hours and then started misfiring again. Pretty confident I probably just have a coil pack that went dead. So we're going to pull that in the shop right now, diagnose that, put a coil pack in if I need be, and probably spark plugs. I'm guessing the spark plugs are highly due for replacement and probably what's taking the coil pack out. Then we're going to get this one in because I need to finish up the rear muffler delete pipes. Started that a few days ago, had to kick it out. Now we're going to get that back in. So we're going to get both these in the shop and hopefully get both these ready for the road. Also need to get my winter tires off on here because of what happened out here.
We'll have to see if they make it through the snow.
So yeah, the tires that are on there are going to be no good for that. So winter tires will be going on there as well. So for now, see my tune files finish flashing, see if the cold starts any better, and get them in the shop. Cylinders and see if that one
not very loud, that's for sure.
Crazy wheelbase on this thing.
Barely made that turn there.
Yeah, he feels a few inches more over the S8. Alright guys, we can see we got a blinking check engine light, which will turn solid here if I were to drive the car at all. There we go. So there, just disabled the cylinder, EPC light is on. So basically what that means is disabled the injector because of a misfire, and we're running on 7 cylinders. So lucky for us, it's not an emergency if that were to happen to your car. It cuts the injector if it sees no firing on it, so it doesn't wash the cylinder and all that. And you can generally get it drove to the shop to get fixed. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to grab the scanner, scan it, see what codes we're throwing. I'm guessing probably going to be just simply a misfire cylinder deactivation on one of the cylinders. And we've got some coils here that we're going to drop in. We'll probably pull the plug, see what that looks like. I'm expecting it to look pretty bad. If I do have a set on the shelf, I'll probably drop them in. But let's get this car back to running. And by the way, this car will be for sale. I was thinking of running it for the winter, but I've decided to not tear into my S8 yet till I get some other projects done. So in the meantime, I'm just going to daily drive that for the winter. I'm going to throw my winter setup on that, which means I have no use for this one at this point. So I'm going to do a few things. At this point, obviously the car running correctly, we're going to fix that. But if someone were to want this car, the way it sits as a little bit of a project, needs things like a windshield, upper control arms are creaking, they're just shot like every other Audi. A few little this and that's. Hit me up, 10,000 bucks, I'll buy this car as it sits. We also can go ahead and fix all the issues. We could do a build on it, whatever you guys would want. So send us a message if you're interested. All right guys, so we got VCDS pulled up here. Let's go in here and see what kind of codes we've got. I'm gonna go ahead and clear the codes. And we'll go back and watch misfires. So the two we had codes for were for cylinder 1, which we have 4,700 stored, and cylinder 5 we have 7,000. So my guess is this car definitely needs spark plugs. I'm guessing we're probably going to pull out like auto lights or maybe NGKs or OEMs that are just have 140,000 miles on them or something crazy. But I'm going to reset this. Let's go ahead and start the car. Let this start updating. So zoom in on that cylinder 5. Definitely I think seems to be the one that's counting its way up. Alright, we'll go back, see which codes we got thrown. Three codes. The freeze frame, cylinder disabling, cylinder 5. Alright, that kind of confirms what I figured. So cylinder 5 is our one with, I'm assuming, just a dead coil pack. It's immediate. Injector could be, but I do smell a bunch of raw fuel when the injector is enabled. So we're gonna go ahead, pop that coil pack out, drop a new one in, and just see where we're at. Originally, when this first came up, so I was driving across Florida, went after just cruising at an idle, probably with cylinder deactivation enabled, since this car is still stock. I went to pass, someone just rolled his throttle a bit, and I felt a split second to misfire, and then it disappeared. And then it was fine for the couple-hour drive. Then drove it around a couple days local. Car obviously never got super hot because it was just local driving. Then we headed for home about 2-3 hours into the trip. I got a misfire. I pulled over, shut the car off, restarted, misfire went away, kept driving probably another hour, 2 hours. Misfire came back. I was almost at a fuel stop, so I stopped for fuel, shut the car off, got fuel, got a couple things, 20 minutes later, got back in the car, misfire gone. Again, hour and a half, 2 hours later, car developed a misfire, and then after that point, I think after 3 restarts of it fixing itself, it just quit. So that kind of told me I think I had a weak coil, probably a big gap on the spark plug that was maxing the coil out, and then I lost it. So now we're gonna go up front, check out cylinder 5, see what we find, drop a new one in, and hopefully your misfires are gone. All right, guys, so coming to the front of the car, lucky for us, it's literally one of the easiest ones to replace, cylinder 5. So the way these are numbered are starting from the passenger front on pretty much all, actually it is on all Audis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in this case, cylinder 5, bam, right there. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get you guys set up so you can see me tear this apart. This coil harness, whole plastic assembly got to come off, and then we're gonna be able to sneak that coil pack right out from under there. It's held on by 1 T30 bolt, either right there, I forget which side it's on. You just see the plug right there. This is your cylinder deactivation solenoids all along here on both sides. High pressure fuel pump, all that good stuff. O2 sensor wiring right there, and wastegate. So pretty standard. As you can see, here's A8 and here's S8. Only difference, dual intakes, or one per side instead of the 2 on the one side, and the red. And then my upside down coolant and oil caps. But other than that, very similar cars. Right, moment of truth. Oh yes, that's very black. That has not been seeing a nice spark in some time. Definitely smells gassy, wet, ugly. The gap isn't horrible, so I think we just had a coil issue. I think I'm gonna clean that plug up, and since I don't have a set in stock, I don't want to do just one. I'm going to just rule out one thing at a time. So instead of changing a whole bunch of stuff, I'm going to clean this plug up, brush it all up nice, get rid of the carbon, drop a new coil pack in, and see what we got. Fire in the hole. Look at that. Alright guys, under the new A8 again, and of course my luck, this car did not leak a drop of anything when I picked it up. It was fine all the time in Florida. I brought it home, let it sit out in the cold, and I got a coolant leak. Now this is somewhat common on these. The O-rings dry out on a couple different places on the front of the engine. I can kind of show you on this one I got sitting on the stand, although all the flanges are missing. But there's a piece coming down here. This pipe here has an O-ring here, here, back in here. And then basically the water pump sits right in here. And the water pump can leak as well as these O-rings here. These love to leak. What happens is in the warm climate, they're fine. They stay kind of soft and they stay sealed. Then you bring them up here in the cold, you let them sit out, and the seal O-ring turns rock hard and it leaks. There's another pipe that comes off the top of the water pump and runs up to here, and that is the one that's going to be leaking on the A8. So I'm going to see if I can come in here and replace that without taking the whole bumper and everything off. Not excited about it because I literally just went through all that doing the water pump on the S8, and now I'm back doing it on the A8. So we can see up in here, you can see all the coolant is just literally just pouring out. I got a big puddle here just from probably the car's been in here half hour or so. And yeah, it just went from being completely dry. I checked the coolant multiple times down there, and a few days of sitting outside and it is leaking. So we got another O-ring here that can leak, but right now it's the one, if you look up top there, this fitting right there, where that comes into the water pump housing, that is what's leaking. So we're gonna get that off. Unfortunately, I probably won't be able to show much of it because I can't even see what I'm doing. It's all feel and mirrors and lights and all that good stuff. But we're gonna get it knocked out, get this thing sealed up, get it 100% good mechanically so that if one of you buys it, you'll have a good running car. So let's get to it. All right, guys, so I dug up the C7 version of this flange. It's slightly different. There's a bigger hose coming off the side on the D4s. But pretty much what we're going to be dealing with is that sits like that, drops down right into the thermostat housing. So what we're seeing looking up from the bottom is a big thermostat housing sitting right here. So I got to come over the top of it. You can see there's going to be a T30, I want to say, holding that one in there. And then the bolts up here. I'm trying to decide if I want to take it off the clamp here or if I want to unbolt it. I don't think I have this seal in stock, so I'm going to have to see if I do disturb it, I probably have to replace it. So as you can see here, this is the one off of this engine. You see that seal is almost completely smashed, and this car only had 40,000 miles on it, I believe. You can see how this O-ring with 40,000 miles was already kind of caked up. Almost could look like there was some moisture going by the O-ring there. As you can see there. So this car here with 140 is definitely due for it. So anyway, enough of talking, let's get to working. All right, guys, so there you can see I've got the bracket or the flange popped forward. You can see the O-ring there, that orange one right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that off and we'll take a look at it, but you can kind of see how flat it is. So here, I can get this to focus. There we go. You can see how squared this O-ring is. It should be round at that same diameter. And if you look at it, it's square, and if you put that out in the freezing temperatures, it would probably crack apart. I bet if you took this thing out in the cold and then went like this, it would probably snap. So that's the reason that one got so hard. I'm hoping none of the others are, but we're gonna get that one replaced and go back together. All right, guys, so we have got it all back together. Again, it's kind of impossible to show you where it is, but it's that fitting right up in there. So I didn't have the exact replacement, so I put a generic one in. We'll see how long that lasts, but it should last a good long while. It might not be quite the quality of the Audi one, but again, they fail as well. So now it's gonna be time to pressure test the system, see if that's the only leak we got or if there's more of them leaking. Not too bad. Once you know what you're doing, it's a terrible working position, but I think I knocked this O-ring out in barely 15 minutes, start to finish. So now we're just gonna lower the car, test the system, make sure it holds pressure and vacuum, and then refill it and carry on. See you on the next one.